of a bitch. Alright. Hey guys, this is Grimlok 24 and I am back with another monster video. In this one I will be doing the Elder Dragon Jhen Mohran. And one thing I would like to point out is you want to use mostly everything in this box, especially you want to grab that ballista binder that I just did. And let me pause it real quick so I can kind of explain some things, since this is a timed fight, more so than most fights, and you kind of have to really make the best use of your time. In this fight, really more than any other, it's just like a completely pattern-based fight, so you want to know what to do when, and if you know what to do when and you're always making use of your time, then it's a really easy fight. But it's actually one of my favorites. It's extremely fun when you know what to do, and it's really cool fight. So moving on, I will let you guys know what to do when. So as you can see, this is not the normal map of any others. You've got a bunch of tools at your disposal here. In the box, I was able to pick up some ballista shots, ballista binder, anti-dragon bombs, and easy girl bomb barges. So there's Jhen Mohran right there. He's a big alligator thing. He will shoot rocks at you. So I like to grab cannon ammo at the first, because to my knowledge, until you get really high-end weapons, cannons are going to do the most damage that you can do to him. So I'll shoot cannons at him a couple of times here. And he basically always does the same thing every time, especially in his first phase. There's very little randomness to it. There's one move that he does kind of randomly. There's like 3 different places that he can do the move. Other than that, he's always going to do the same thing every time. So, just once you figure out what to do, it's just automatic every time. It's like science. So, I'm going to put on this ballista binder. You have to activate it, or you have to put it as your active item, and then come to one of these ballistas if you want to use it. So what he's going to do when he's close to the boat like this is he's going to start ramming it or shooting rocks like that. I'm going to wait for him to try to ram it, because this ballista binder will actually interrupt his attack. So I'm going to ballista bind this and interrupt that attack, because technically what you're trying to do is stop him from destroying the ship. He's trying to do damage to the ship. It's got an integrity level that you can see right here. It's normal right now, but as he's doing damage to the ship, that'll decrease over time. So you're trying to kill him, but you're trying to keep him from destroying the ship. So he moves forward, as you see here. I keep on shooting him with cannon shots, but once he gets far enough forward, you'll see his fin over here, leg, whatever the heck you want to call it. Once he gets close enough up here, you can actually just jump on his back. And this is pretty important, because you can see this discolored portion of his back right here. This is actually like a really weak point of his. And so you'll want to jump on here and start dealing damage to his back. One thing I'll note is, most of the time I actually prefer using switch axe on him, but his back is really weird. It's kind of buggy, it's kind of glitchy, it moves around a lot, and makes a lot of weird effects happen. And one of those effects is, very often, not actually hitting this it's really easy to hit other parts, and so I like using the longsword, because it's a lot easier to focus hits on one spot, whereas the switch axe has some crazy different hitting places. As you saw there, he shot up his rocks, and that'll knock you into the air, and if you're unfortunate, then you'll get knocked into the air and knocked off of him. And when you fall off of him into the sand, then you'll fall back behind the boat, and you're just going to climb back up. You'll start back in this little room where the mission started, and you just come back up here and go at him again. So I'm just going to jump back on him and start working on that weak point again. You'll be hitting it until eventually this weak point will actually bust out. And once it's busted out like that, you can't really take advantage of it being a weak point anymore, so you'll just want to move on. He's got 2 of them on his back. So there goes one of them. And I actually interrupted what he does at the end of this little portion of what he does. So right there, you see he just did like this big bucking motion. If you're still on top of him when he does that, he will throw you off and do a bunch of damage to you. So unfortunately, I interrupted what he does as kind of a warning that he's about to do that. He'll start like making like a purring noise where he's like, and then he'll kind of like start shaking a little bit, and that's kind of your signal to get the hell out, because if you're still on him when he does that, then it does some damage. And after he does that, he's going to fall back into the sand, where he's actually going to jump over the boat, and I like to grab a cannonball while he's doing that, and wait for him to jump on this other side. He does kind of like a free willy thing here, and I shoot him right about now, and I shot him a little bit early there, but if you time it right, you can actually hit him in the tail. It's very inconsequential, but it's a little bit of extra damage. One thing to point out is I have this ballista ammo. You start out with 10 if you grab it from the box, but you can grab more from this little area right here. I would suggest crouching down and then gathering, because it shortens the animation of the gathering, so you don't take as long to get more ballista ammo back. So I was mentioning the randomness that he can do. He's got a move where he'll come from the center over here and try to belly flop on the boat, and you'll see that you have this button right here. It's a gong. So if he does that move where he belly flops, you want to hit the gong and stop him from doing it. So he didn't do it here, but he did have a chance of doing it there. So that's why I was kind of hanging around the gong, because he's got a few different times that he can do it, and you want to make sure that you're close to that gong so that you can interrupt him if he's about to do it. So here he's up against the boat. He's going to swipe across the boat. I'm actually not even sure what he's going to do. I evade through it like that. I think maybe you can panic dive. One of the other things I like to do is put down a couple of barrel bombs here and save those for later. Or someone will set him off. That's fine too. And that does some damage on his tusks. You really want to focus on his tusks, because if you need anything off of Jhen Mohran, there's a really good chance that it's going to take his tusks. So you need to break them both with his tusks. So, as you saw, I put down that anti-dragon bomb. If you haven't seen an anti-dragon bomb before, what that does is it's good for dragons, as you can probably assume. But the catch is you have to put it down on the dragon. You can't set it down on the boat or anywhere else. You have to be on the dragon. So, as you saw, I jumped on his tusk and put it down there. The reason I put it on his tusk is because his tusks have very high resistance to damage, and they're very hard. So I like to use any tool that I can with his tusks. If it goes to him with my melee weapon, he's probably going to bounce off of it. I'm not even sure if there's any sharpness that can cut through it. Certainly not at G range. But yeah, I like to use the ballistas. I like to use the dragon bombs. I like to use the barrel bombs. Anything other than the weapon I'm using to take out his tusks. So here I'm just working on his second weak point here. Once again, you can tell it by the discoloration in his spine here. Now that that's gone, I'm going to jump over here on his other tusk, throw down the other anti-dragon bomb, and then try to get back up on the boat here. And so you'll see that those anti-dragon bombs, they don't require anything to set off. They just take about 10 seconds and then they'll go off by themselves. So now I'll just continue on. He's a little too far over to hit with cannonballs, so this is a good opportunity to just hit him with some normal ballista shots. This ballista binder, you'll notice you only grab one of them, but it's just got a cooldown on. As you probably saw earlier, it holds him in place for a little while, gives you an opportunity to do some damage on him, and it's got like a 5-minute cooldown, something like that. Same with the hunting gong. I haven't used it yet, but that's also another move that's just got a cooldown that you have to wait on. The bright side is I always use the hunting gong to interrupt the belly flop that he'll probably do pretty soon here. If you use it for that belly flop, then he won't do it again before the cooldown is up on it, so you're never in danger of the hunting gong being on cooldown when he does that belly flop, if you save it specifically for the belly flop. So here you see, he's about to end this little phase right here. I just took out one of his tusks, but he's about to end this phase over here. He comes up to the boat, and then he does another little bucking animation like you saw earlier. You do not want to be in front of him. After this, I think he's going to do that bucking animation I was talking about. Grab some more ballista ammo real quick. The bucking animation has the same warning sign. You'll get to see it here. He kind of starts making a little bit of a purring noise and doing like a little shaking movement, and then he'll buck. So here he's starting it. I'll let you listen to it some. He's kind of just shuddering a little bit, and then he does that big buck. If you're in front of him, his tusks will hit you and do a bunch of damage, so make sure you're clear and over to the side. again, crouch down if you're gathering this ballista ammo. Let's go faster. I always like to use pretty much all of my ammo at once and then gather it all at once. I don't really like to get 2 or 3 at a time and then go shoot it, because it feels like you're wasting a lot of time moving back and forth between the gathering spot. So here, there's another chance that he's going to do his belly flop move I've mentioned, so I'm going to hang out near this gong here in case he does it. Just watch out for the middle over there. As you saw when he did the other thing, he came from this left side, but if he does the belly flop, he comes from over in this area. So he didn't do it, instead he came up here, and you want to watch out for these rocks. It's kind of hard to tell where they're going to land, so you just kind of hope that they don't land on you. There's not a whole lot you can do. But then after he does that rock, he's going to swim out in front of the boat, and this is probably the most important part of this phase. You want to be next to this, and this is one of the Dragonators. You're going to see him pop out of the sand 3 times, and you want to time it on the second time he pops out. So here comes his first pop, then he's going to come a little closer on the second pop, hit this Dragonator. His third one, he comes to hit the boat, but nailing the Dragonator, and you interrupt that move, because that will do huge damage to the boat if he gets it off. So you want to make sure you get the timing right on that, and if you just wait for him to come out the second time like that, then you'll get it every time. It's no problem at all. So I'm going to hang out near the gong just in case he tries to do his belly flop move. Alright, he's going to come up next. And so, if you haven't broken those weak points on his back by now, then this is another opportunity. You can jump onto him via his fin here. Since they're already broken, there's not much more for me to do on his back, then I'm just going to... I've already broken this tusk. If I had not broken the tusk, then I would actually get on this ballista and aim it over there up towards the front and try to hit his tusks for me, because that's pretty much a priority, is his tusks. If he has tusks intact, then that should be your priority. You should be trying to hit those tusks. And so I can't really access the other tusks, so I'm going to be working on his arm here, which brings me to another one of his breakables. He's got the breakable tusks, the breakable spines on his back up there, and then his arms are breakable. Those are important to break because he's got an item called Mohran Brace or something like that. He's got the Mohran Brace that you have to break both of his arms to get that. And yeah, I've forgotten this binder. I actually don't usually use it when I'm playing with my partner. So I've forgotten, you will want to use that binder when he's ramming the boat like that. That's one thing I did not mention, but your boat's not going to die because of those rammings. Your boat's going to die if he hits you when you need to use the Dragonator, or if he belly flops on the boat. So it saves you some time and gives you a good opportunity to attack him with that ballista binder, but if he rams into the side of the boat, you're just fine. The cannonballs are limited, the ballista ammo is limited. As you've seen, the cannonballs, I couldn't gather those anymore. You can also hit his arm with a melee weapon when he's that close. I kind of like the opportunity to cast there. But yeah, this is just fine. So he's going to do his free willy thing again here and jump over. I don't have a cannon to try to shoot at him, but that's alright. Pretty sure he has to do his belly flop now, because this is basically the end of the phase, and he hasn't done the belly flop. There are 3 different places he can do it, he hasn't done it yet, so he's going to do it here. Go ahead and hit this gong, stop that. And now he's going into the second phase. If you don't have full ballista ammo, this is your opportunity to try to get some. If you don't have full sharpness, this is your opportunity to do that. I don't have full stamina, so I'm going to get some of that back. And try to finish out my ballista. So the second phase is quite different from the first phase. We'll see that in just a moment here. So it's entering the final showdown, and then in a few seconds here, you'll switch rooms. So now, we're over here, and he's actually coming for the boat, and the boat is stopped, and you're on the side of it. You have all the same resources that you had before. You're going to go ahead and finish out my ballista ammo because I'm going to be using the ballista here. You do have the option to run all the way out there and start attacking his arms since they are breakable, but I don't like to do that because you're wasting a lot of time running all the way out there. So I'm going to use the ballista. Of course, it's got the drop physics, so you're going to have to aim quite above him, but I'm going to be aiming for his tusks so I can finish off that second one. It's going to be tough to hit, but if you get the height just right, you can get some hits on it. Once again, it's tough to do, but with a little bit of practice, you can get pretty good at hitting his tusks from this distance. Sometimes he'll kind of freak out there and do a bunch of moves, even though he's not close to the boat, and that makes it really tough to hit his tusks, but... So now he's going to be trying to shoot some rocks at me. It's not a big deal if it hits you, it will do some damage, especially if you have low rank armor. But it's not the end of the world. You probably have some potions still. But yeah, if he's doing that, it's not easy to hit his tusks while he's doing this. So I'm not doing anything useful by being at the ballista. So I'm just going to finish out my ammo while he's doing this kind of stuff, and then wait for him to do something different, like walk towards the boat some more, get a good opportunity to shoot his tusks some more. Yeah, he'll do this swinging move a lot as well. Sometimes he'll be shy, sometimes he won't, sometimes he'll just walk right up towards the boat immediately. But I find more often he'll do this kind of thing. He's just kind of messing around, wasting his time, wasting your time. That does not make hitting these tusks any easier is the aim speed that the aiming goes at, but it's not that bad. But yeah, once again, this isn't the only way to do this. Once again, you can run out there and hit his arms. I personally don't like to do that just because it takes such a long time to get out there, but you can still succeed at this fight just as easily doing that. It's just doing the same things in a different order. I am eventually going to run out there and start hitting his arms. I'm just not going to do it right now. I prefer when the run is less far. So here, you want to wait for here comes his belly flop move. Do the gong when he's doing in the middle of that, and you'll actually knock him over. And you can run out here and actually get into his mouth. A couple things, when you're in his mouth, you can carve twice. You usually won't get anything of use, but you can actually get his gem out of here. It's not super common, but it is possible, so it's worth carving for sure. And then his weakest point is in here. If you do the two carves, he's going to recover very quickly, and if you're still in his mouth, then you will get hit like that. If you have weaker armor, then it will do a lot of damage. One thing to point out is you saw that I interrupted that belly flop there. He's also got his roar like that looks very similar, so you'll want to make sure that you don't try to use the gong when he does the roar, because that won't knock him over like it did with the belly flop. The Dragonator is already ready in this phase, so as soon as he gets close, you want to use it as soon as possible, because you'll probably be using it again in this phase. So right now I'm still just prioritizing, trying to get his other tusk. I accidentally used the binder there actually. I wasted it, but it's not that big of a deal. The binder is not quite as important as the gong or the Dragonator. Once again, it can interrupt him and give you a chance for some extra damage, but it's not going to make you fail the quest if you use it a long time. Alright, now we got his other tusk, so at this point I'm going to focus on his arms, because that's all he has left that is breakable. So I'm just going to run out here, let him do his thing with the boat, then I'm going to come over here to his arms, where he does his roar. There's not much you can do about it if you don't have high-grade earplugs. You can't even panic dive out of it. This is kind of a mindless part of the fight. If he does take a step forward or backward, if you're standing in the wrong place, then it will actually do damage for whatever reason. So I try to kind of keep a little bit of distance away from his arm and do damage, but I still usually hit. It's kind of hard to avoid, but you need to hit these arms, so not much you can do otherwise, unless you're a ranged fighter. So he's just going to kind of sit here and do his thing, try to take out his arm. Yeah, so there he takes a step back, and it's just a hit that we're probably going to take. Alright, there the gong is ready again, so be ready for if he does that belly flop again. I'm going to try to make sure I can get in position for that. I'd rather break his arm at this point. One thing to note is on his belly flop, he's got kind of like two different stances right now. He's really close to the ground, but sometimes he'll position himself so that he's kind of leaning up some. He does it right here. And if he does that, then there's a good chance he'll do his belly flop. So if he does that really close to the boat and the gong is up, then I'll kind of run over towards the boat and get ready for if he does the belly flop. Sometimes he'll kind of just space out like this. He definitely likes to waste your time. So he's back down in his normal position, so we can come back down here and start trying to hit his arm a little more. There goes his arm. You can tell it's broken. There's a nice big chunk in the side of it. Now I'm going to start working on his other arm. Try to speak a little more loudly if you can't hear me. So here he's doing his roar again because he wasn't in his higher up position. He's in his position, so I'm going to get over here and try to get ready for if he does the belly flop. This is going to be the roar. Come back down here while he's back down close to the ground. Get a couple shots in, and then he's back up in position, so I'm going to run back up here once again. The main way I usually tell if he's doing the belly flop is if he reaches over to the side like that, he'll kind of make like a really loud groaning noise. This is going to be the roar because he didn't make the groaning noise. If you hear that groaning noise, it's just kind of like a creaking noise in here, and that's a really good indicator that he's doing the belly flop instead, because he makes the same motion between the roar and the belly flop. I will note that that is also a belly flop, but that one will not knock him over if you use the hunting gong in the middle of it. Alright, there goes his other arm, so at this point there's nothing else to break, so I'm actually just going to be using cannons and stuff on him. The main reason for that is so that I can make sure that I'm on the boat and ready for if he does his belly flop, because it is possible to not have enough time to get up here and hit that gong. So there he's doing the belly flop. He's a little bit far out, so it's going to take me some time to get into his mouth, but it's still really worthwhile because I'll do a ton of damage to him. watch out for when he starts shaking, because then he's about to recover, get out of there, and that's just some free damage on him. So now we're going to come back up here and start shooting cannonballs at him again. And once again, the cannonballs in this phase, they come back if you run out of them in the first phase, but they are limited once again, so you can use some. Belly flopping in, you can hear that creaking noise. Get out of there, because that will hurt if it hits you. Alright, coming. Another thing to note is if, like Cedius fight, you can either repel or kill him. Usually I kill him, but it's possible that if the time runs out, if you do all this stuff, it will repel him, but if you don't get enough damage on him, it's possible that that's all you'll get and not the kill. But it is, unlike the Cedius fight, this one doesn't carry over across multiple quests, so if you don't kill him one quest, then he'll come back next time at full strength, so it is definitely preferable to kill him. Alright, now you see the ship integrity is going down the warning because he's been wailing on it some. I'm actually going to shoot this ballista by warning so I can get some extra time. And he's dead. So, another thing, it's not, you want to make sure that you're inside of him as soon as possible, because he's got 8 carves, 2 different carving areas, of 4 each, 8 carves, and if you start out right inside of him, then you'll just pretty much barely have enough time to get all 8 carves, so you'll want to get close to him as soon as possible once he dies and becomes carvable, because you'll be kind of crunched for time. So there I just got his head carve area. Now I'm out here in his body. Alright, so there you have it. That's the Jhen Mohran fight. It actually took a little bit longer than normal, but yeah, it's extremely simple. Just know what to do and when, and you'll get it every time. It's no problem at all. It's a lot of fun too. So, if you've got any questions, let me know in the comments box. If you have any special requests, let me know in the comments. Feel free to join me on my stream at www.twitch.tv/Grimlok24. I try to stream every night, and so I hope to see you guys there, and thank you very much for watching. See you later.